Hello everyone and welcome to Shauna Stitches. Thank you for joining me for episode number 24. Today is September the 2nd, 2017. And I have a dog here, of course. See, I actually wrote down some show notes today, which is shocking. So if I look down, that's what I'm looking at. Anyways, I am drinking black coffee today in my Starbucks cup, and it's really hot. Speaking of hot, the weather is really hot. You'll notice I'm wearing a tank top here, and it's supposed to get like 80 degrees, which I understand for some of you is not very hot, but for us here on the coast of Oregon, it is quite hot. And along that note, I always hear people say it's too hot for hot drinks. I don't know, I can always drink hot drinks when it's hot. How about you? I don't know why. Anyways. On to our first thing here. If you remember from last episode, if you watched, I had a poncho that I crocheted a couple years ago that I just had never worn, and I asked anyone who was interested to leave their name, and I'm going to draw for the winner. So just to remind you what the poncho looks like. Here it is. That's like a cowl neck that you fold over and granny squares with fringe. Alright, so I was really happy to have more than one person who was interested, and I actually had 4 people. So, let's see if I can show you this. There we go. There are 4 little pink pieces of paper in my other Starbucks cup without coffee in it. I didn't ruin that one. So let's see who the winner is. So exciting. The winner is Joanna Quillman. So Joanna, I will try to tag you in a comment here on YouTube. I'm not quite sure how that works, but I will also reply to your, excuse me, I fuzz up my nose. I will also reply to your comment on the last video so that you know that you won if you aren't seeing this here. And please, I think you can send me a private message there on YouTube. Send me your full name if this isn't it, and your address. And if you can't send me a private message on YouTube, then find me on Ravelry. My username is Shauna Stitches, one word, and just send me a private message there and I will get that out to you. I guess along those lines, I will tell you, in addition to finding me on Ravelry under Shauna Stitches, you can find me, or my group here for this podcast, the Shauna Stitches podcast group, under the groups tab on Ravelry. You can find me here on YouTube as Shauna Stitches, and I also have a Facebook page under Shauna Stitches. So pretty much anywhere you want to find me or anywhere I exist, I'm Shauna Stitches. I don't think there's anyone else using that name, but if there is, I don't know. Let me know. All right. So, finished objects. How about the one I'm wearing? Ah! I seriously love this thing. Oh my gosh. This is the For Love of Rainbow shawl. And the pattern's by Mina Phillip. And I absolutely love it. But it is super hot, so I'm really glad to be talking about this so I can take it off. Let's see, are you looking at the front? Nope, of course you're looking at the back. Cody, move. Go. Cody's very excited about the shawl as well. So here we go. It is humongous, and you can see it's got this wavy border. It's not supposed to be wavy. That's my poor version of blocking. I used pins instead of blocking wires because I don't have any yet, but it's definitely on my I need to get list because it didn't come out that great. But the lace looks beautiful. It really opened up. There, you can see it really well against my shirt. The lace is gorgeous. The rest is garter stitch. Yeah, I love it. So, this is the end I started on. You can see I'm using it's called Little Oyster. It's kind of like a gray tan. And the other is a skein that I had that is a rainbow gradient. So I started at purple, kept going purple, faded to red, to orange, to yellow, green, blue, and then back to purple. If you follow me on Instagram at all, you'll know that I was trying to decide. So technically the pattern ended at this stripe. I guess I'll sit down so you can actually see me while I talk to you. The pattern ended after this last little gray section here, but I had quite a lot of the rainbow yarn left and I wanted to keep going. So I added a second stripe that is exactly the same as this one. And as I was getting closer, like I was weighing my grams every single row for the entire last two rainbow sections because I was trying to figure out how much yarn I needed. And I was getting close and I decided I wasn't going to have enough. So I found a mini skein I had and I added that there in the end. I striped it. I don't even think you can really see it. Just because there's so much sort of gradient, or not gradient, that's not the word I want, variation to the purple itself anyway. So I think it turned out well. And then when I was all the way done, I think I had maybe 4 grams left, and I think I used 4 grams of that one. So I might have actually made it, but I was more comfortable just knowing that I was going to have enough and not stressing out about it. But anyway, I think this is absolutely my favorite project I have ever done to date. Like, I love the rainbow. I love the pattern. It's just so beautiful. I will tell you though, when I got to that last section here, I think I got up to about 250, 260 stitches per row, which is not a lot when you're hearing people talk about their oracle and 1,000 stitches on the needle. Oh my goodness. So this was nothing compared to that, and still the rows were just feeling like they were taking forever. But anyway, I cannot wait to wear this. I'm going to wear it a lot because it goes with everything because it's a rainbow. Alright, I think that's enough about that. If I didn't mention, that pattern is by Mina Phillip, the Knitting Expat. You can find her Ravelry page and purchase the pattern. It is a very well written pattern. I really enjoyed it. And I would knit it again. I do have another rainbow gradient sock blank, and it's not out of the question. It may happen. My second finished object is, you'll remember I showed one of these socks, the Simple Skip socks, last week, and it was finished. And I have now blocked that sock, which, oh my goodness, can I tell you how nice this looks after blocking? If you remember, before blocking it was all like this. It really makes it look so nice. Don't be fooled. I'm not going to be converted to blocking all of my socks every time I wear them and wash them. But for a gift, that is so awesome because it really does make a difference. So I have a pair done. So these are going to go to my pen pal Cowl friend, Kelly. Yeah, so I'll be sending these to her soon. I also have another finished object that I can't show because it is a Christmas present for her. I know I'm really on the ball. No, it's not because I was thinking about Christmas or I should be getting ready. I just wanted to make something. I was like, oh, this would be a perfect Christmas gift. So it's just coincidental. I am not that much of a planner. So anyway, that being said, because it's a Christmas gift, I cannot show it, but I really want to. It's really awesome. What else do I want to say? Oh, these were knit on a 2.25 millimeter US 1, mostly on a 9-inch circular, and I did a contrasting heel, cuff, and toe. The yarn is Cloudborne Fibers, this yarn, in You Better Belize. And this is a Cascade Heritage sock, I do believe, but I don't quite remember. And I don't remember the color. So that's it for those. I do have a half object. And here it is. This ginormous sock right here is one of a pair that is going to be for Glenn. If you remember me showing this yarn before, it's because you have seen it if you've watched my previous episodes. These were supposed to be his March socks, and I can't remember the pattern I was doing, but it hurt my fingers like crazy, and I think I had maybe to here done, and I ripped it all out because I was like, there is no way I'm going to continue knitting this. So I recently just cast on for vanilla sock. I did 20 rounds of 2x2 rib, 70 rounds of leg, did an afterthought heel. I can't remember how many rows of foot this one was, maybe 90-ish. And then I did a new toe, new to me toe. You can see it there. So this is, I believe a lot of people are calling it the whirlwind toe, or at least it's very similar to a whirlwind toe. And if you do not watch Squirrel Pie Productions podcast, who is Tommy or Dynamite Trujillo, you really should. She talks about her rounded toe all the time. It's what she uses on all of her socks. And I just felt like trying something new. So if you go to her projects page, again, we're talking about Dynamite Trujillo on Ravelry. If you go to her projects page and find her Pandora socks, in the notes section, she has it clearly spelled out how she does this toe. And it does look a little funky like this. But I tried it on my foot. Glenn wasn't home, so I couldn't try it on him. And, you know, of course, his feet are much bigger than mine, so I had to kind of snug it down. But it looks like it would look good on a foot, I think. So, anyway, I really want to try these on a pair of my socks as well. I just happened to have one done for him before I had any done for me. So you'll notice on the sides of this toe, there's not that normal crease that you get where you do your decreases, because it's similar to a hat decrease. You're decreasing all the way around, and as you get less stitches, you're decreasing more often. So let's see, the toe itself, I'm trying to decide where it starts. I think it starts about right here, and that looks right because there it's decreasing. So anyway, I really like it. I hope that he likes it. And if he does, that's going to be, I think, my go-to toe. It was so simple. Literally, I wouldn't even ever have to look at the directions again. It's that easy to memorize. Just doing it once, I'm good to go, because the math just makes sense. And trust me, you do not have to be good at math for it to make sense. Thank God. I was also really excited and really confused because out of a 50-gram ball, I had 9 grams of yarn left, which just doesn't happen. Like, I've used more than 50 grams on one of his socks, but I think the difference is, A, he told me he doesn't like his legs as long as I do, because I think the first sock I knit him had a 90 row leg, because that's what I like. But also I think because it doesn't have a pattern, eating up more of the yarn. I did knit these on a 2.5 millimeter. I always knit his socks on that to give it a little bit more room. And my gauge seems to be pretty good, really, on the 2.5 versus the 2.25. I'm a little afraid to knit my socks on a 2.5. I know I could get away with less stitches. I'm not sure why I have that fear, because his socks seem to be holding up well enough, but maybe one of these days I'll convert over. I have one more, actually, before I move on here. I started the second sock, but literally just started. It's like nothing. There you go. I'm on round 4 of the cuff, so long way to go. I will let you know, totally tangent here, but the reason I got those vanilla socks done so quickly was because I've picked up an old habit. And do you ever like stop doing something, you don't really know why you stopped doing it, and you go a long time and then you go back to doing it, you're like, why the heck did I stop? I enjoy this, I'm having a good time, plus I'm being productive. Anyway, that's what happened to me. I went back to doing my walk and knit, walking on the treadmill and knitting and watching podcasts. So, you know, 3 stones in one thing. So I can't really do much of a pattern sock, maybe a very light pattern, but it's great for vanilla socks. And I've been doing, my treadmill times out at 99 minutes, just because the timer can't hit 100 minutes. And I haven't quite made it to the 99-minute mark, but I think yesterday was like 95. And trust me, I'm not going fast or anything, but I'm getting like close to 5 miles in in a 90-ish minute walk. I think I had the treadmill up to like 2.8 miles per hour or something like that yesterday, maybe 2.9. But anyway, I really like it. I hope to stick with it. My staycation has been really great. Like, I'm enjoying just having time to do whatever the heck I want to do. And don't get me wrong, there's some things that I haven't really wanted to do, but that I've needed to do. So it's just been nice to kind of, I don't know, not have the stress of work. Even if my job wasn't stressful, just the stress of every day getting up and going to work. Anyway, tangent over. On to my last whip that I'm actually working on. This is a new whip. I've been doing so good at finishing projects that were already on the needles, and I just literally could not resist. Let's see how I can do this best to show you the pattern without losing stitches. There we go, that looks pretty good. So this is the, there you go, Inline for Pumpkin Spice Latte socks. Written, the pattern just came out. It's written by Lily of Nordic Stitches. You can find her on Ravelry. And when I saw this pattern, if you have been watching for a long time, you'll remember this yarn as well. I cannot remember the name of the sock, but it was one of the sock patterns in CC Almond's, I can't remember the name of the collection, but it was last year. Something about coffee collection maybe. She had a pumpkin spice or pumpkin sock, and I got to the cable and couldn't figure it out, messed it up royally, and that's what these were. So these got ripped out, and I'm so happy to have another pumpkin pattern to work on with this yarn. So you can see these look like a bunch of little pumpkins there, a little pumpkin patch, and these are some bigger pumpkins, and I just seriously love this pattern. For a detailed sock pattern that I actually have to keep track of what row I'm on, it's knitting up surprisingly fast. This is another unique feature that I honestly have never seen on another sock. So do you notice how the pattern goes all the way to the top here? Because this is the cuff. The back here is actually ribbed, and because the sock pattern itself is ribbed, she just carried the pattern all the way to the top, and that is genius. Like, I would have never thought to do something like that. So anyway, this is my 1x1 rib, and I decided to go with a 1x1 twisted rib, which I've never actually done before, but it looks really nice. You all were right. I don't know why I would doubt you. Anyway, not much to say about that. I think I've completed 7 pattern repeats so far. It's a 8-row repeat, and it's fairly simple, honestly. There's a lot of mock cables, which are very easy, and the cable itself that's in there I'm finding to be very easy, and I'm not a huge cable knitter at all. So yeah, totally doable, really enjoying it. You should check it out. Let's see. And then as far as the yarn, I forgot to mention, I think it's a Cascade Heritage, but I could be wrong because I lost the band a long time ago. I'm sure if I look through my, well, I don't have it as an old project. I bet I could figure it out though. Anyway, 2.25 millimeter needles for this. And I did think about going up to 2.5 just because I have done that on other projects that were cabled or that had slip stitches in them, and I didn't, so hopefully that's gonna fit fine. What else do I want to talk about? Oh yes, I do have a couple acquisitions. So if you'll remember from the last episode, I'm doing my countdown of when I last purchased yarn since, how many projects I'm completing, and how much yarn I'm getting out of my stash. It's just a little challenge for myself. If you guys want to join in that challenge, that would be awesome. I'm finding it very motivating to update my little counter every time I finish a project, you know, to add skeins of yarn, to add how many days. It's, you know, fun. Anyway, so this is the yarn. I should have said, Glenn, if you're watching, turn it off. It's too late now. Glenn, if you're watching, turn it off. This is the yarn that made me have my counter set to where it is. So this is going to be a pair of socks for Glenn for his birthday, which is in November, so I have a little time. But he is a huge Blazers fan, and these are the Blazers colors, black, red, and white. This should be a self-striping. I custom ordered it from Aloha Blue, which you can find her on Instagram and Etsy. Yes, I believe it is Etsy. It doesn't say on here. And her label is a little long to show, but there you go. Aloha Blue, B-L-U. And yeah, it's a 75-25 merino and nylon. And I can't wait to get these knit up for him. I think I'll do a contrasting black heel cuff and toe just to make sure I have enough yarn. Oh, now I gotta talk about birthday stuff. Actually, I'm gonna hold off on birthday stuff for just a minute. And I'm gonna let you know, since I just mentioned my yarn countdown. So this put me at 25 days. It's been 25 days since I purchased this yarn. I have no plans on purchasing any other yarn, even when I really want to. Because I really want to buy some cotton so I can make some of the girlfriend market bags, and I'm holding off because you know what, there are a million other projects I can knit, and I can knit those with the sock yarn that I have. So I'm being practical, which is strange. All these vacation days must have me making sense up here. Anyhow, 25 days since I last purchased that yarn. I have gotten 10 skeins out of my stash, which is amazing. And I should say that 10 skeins, if it's 100 gram skein, it's 100. If it's 50 gram skein, it's 50. So when I had the 9 grams left, that's enough for me to count this as one skein out. And so this will go into my pile to go into my cozy memories and my crochet blanket. And I have 4.5 projects done. So I'm quite happy with that. 2 of them have been ginormous projects, that being the For the Love of Rainbows, and then my other one was the flax, which was huge as well. Okay, so if I don't say it enough, Glenn is an amazing boyfriend. And he buys me yarn, which is really sweet of him. So for my birthday, he went to Twisted. I wasn't there with him. He went by himself. But he got me this little project bag here from Twisted. And inside this project bag is a Shifting Shadows cowl kit. Oh, it's so glary. Hopefully you can see that there. And you see this is, it's got the Twisted logo. This is a kit that can, I think, only be bought at Twisted. And this pattern here, you can actually download off of Ravelry. I'll put a link down below. And it's a free pattern. So, that's not the best part of this. The best part is this yarn. Oh my goodness. Let's see if I can pull it up for you to see. So, the colors aren't quite right on the screen. This is definitely lighter in color than it's showing up. This is more green, and that's actually pretty accurate. So this is Malabrigo lace, and I do believe they're singles. And oh my goodness, this is so soft. Like, oh, I want everything in my life to be this soft. I told him when I opened this, I don't think I've ever felt anything as soft as this, and to have it be a cowl around my neck, oh, I just cannot wait. It seems to be really interestingly constructed. There's all 3 colors there. I think that's actually pretty close except for the tealy green one. So you hold 3 strands together, and at any time during the pattern, it can be 3 strands of the blue, 3 strands of the green, 3 strands of the purple, or a combination thereof. So it creates this really interesting effect there. Anyway, it's all seed stitch, so I don't know how I feel about that. I've never done anything in seed stitch. I think it's going to be challenging, but I'm excited. So here is the, backwards, there's the label for the yarn. It is a lace weight. I don't know if this says the weight. Well, 50 grams is 470 yards. So I think each one is 50 grams, each color, and then it's just been split into 3 equal balls. And the colors I have are Bobby Blue, Periwinkle, and I'm going to screw this one up, Azul Bolita. Azul is blue. I don't know what Bolita is. I'm sure someone out there does. Anyway, I don't know when I'm going to get this started. Hopefully soon-ish, because I really would like to wear it this winter. I think it'd be a great thing to wear in the car on my way to work, because when it is cold out, it takes a while for the car to warm up. He also got me this tape measure bracelet, which is pretty cool. This is also from Twisted. It sounds like the girls at the shop talked him into it. So good job, girls. I highly doubt anyone that works at Twisted is watching, but if you are, I love it. I don't know how practical it is to use to actually measure something, because if you'll notice, I haven't even been wearing this very long, but it's kind of warped. Do you see what I mean? Like just where it naturally goes around your wrist, and it's going to get stretched out and stuff. So, I mean, I wouldn't use this as like a die hard and fast measurement, but in a pinch it might work. But it's just really cute to wear. He also totally not knitting related. He got me these, oh my gosh, I just totally forgot what they're called too. Tanzanite. It's my favorite stone and I forget what it's called. He got me these Tanzanite earrings, which I really love, so. Anyway, I think that is everything for the knitting portion, and I just have a couple other little things to talk about. If you follow me on Instagram, you have already seen these things, but I'm gonna say them anyway. Actually, I don't think you've seen them all. So like I said, during my time off, I've been staying here at home. It's been really great. I try not to leave the house, to be quite honest. That sounds crazy, I know, but I have no desire to be around people right now. I mean, I love interacting with people online, but I just need a break. So that being said, I've been doing some projects that need to get done around the house. I have had the posts up for a portion of my fence in my backyard for, I don't know, probably a year and a half, and have had the boards to finish it and everything, but I didn't have a screw gun. So I was able to borrow a screw gun and to complete, I'd say it's probably a 8-foot section of fence. And I even used a level and leveled it all out, and I think it looks pretty good. And the main thing is it's keeping the chihuahuas on my side of the fence instead of running over into the neighbor's yard, which they don't do all the time, but sometimes they'll hear a noise down there. Like behind my house is kind of a swampy area, so I don't know what they're hearing. It freaks me out that they'll start running. They don't ever run down there because they really can't. There's a lot of brush in the way, but they start running towards that direction, and it freaks me out because I've been bit by a raccoon. If it's a raccoon, they will not hesitate to come up and attack the dogs, or, I mean, even a possum, something like that. Anyway, I'm just the dog mom, and I freak out when I'm worried about my puppies. But anyway, it keeps them from going over into the neighbor's yard, where they seem to hear more noises than in my yard, which is good. And the other thing that I did that's taken up a lot of time, 3 days to be exact, is that I painted my front door. I bought my house brand new, and I'm thankful that everything was already picked when I bought the house. Like, everything was done. I didn't have it made custom for me in any way. But one thing that I have never liked is that the front door was this really drab forest green color. And I mean, not a pretty forest green at all. It just made the house look kind of gloomy and dark. And here on the coast, we have enough dark and gloomy days that I don't really need my house to sort of mimic what the weather already looks like. And the house color is not bad. It's just like a really neutral tan. So pretty much anything would go with it. And so I went to Home Depot and I was just looking at paint chips, and I really didn't have anything in mind. I'd kind of thought about blue, but wasn't really sure that that's where I wanted to go with things. And I just picked some paint chips that I liked that were really bright and vibrant, and I brought them home and I taped them to the door, and I held them up against the tan of the house, and even posted it on Facebook and on Instagram for people to comment, because I've always lived in an apartment my entire life until I bought this house, or rented. I've rented a house previous to this as well, but it was places that I couldn't change. Nothing was up to me, and of course if I did make those changes, it would be on me to repaint everything when I moved out. And I think I've mentioned this on the podcast before, but I moved like 15 times in 15 years or something like that, and when you move that much, you know how big of a hassle it is just to do the deep clean and to move into your new place and to unpack and to pack and all these things. And the last thing you want to do is to be painting walls on a place that you're not going to be living in anymore. So it was never an option for me. I've never painted anything in my life that was mine. I've helped other people paint and that sort of thing, but totally different when you're the one picking the colors. So I needed a little moral support, and some of the comments I got were supportive, and some of them were like, what are you thinking? You're crazy. So on the swatch, which I'll put up here, the picture that I took of the colors that I liked, one of the colors I was drawn to was orange, because orange is my favorite color. And so I put them in kind of in order of the ones that I like the best. And the color I like the best was called Desert Coral. And obviously coral is an orangey pink, which is literally my favorite two colors, pink and orange. It's probably the most perfect color for me. But it's just so terrifying. You see this little swatch like this big up on your wall, and to try to imagine an entire door inside and outside my house, because for some reason they painted both that horrid green color. To imagine that on the inside of your house and outside your house is terrifying. So like I said, some people are like, oh yeah, go for it. You love that color. It'll be awesome. And if you don't, it's just paint. No big deal. And other people, like I said, thought I was crazy. So I had enough yes votes in my book. I went and bought the paint and primer and whatnot. And I primed the door, 2 coats of primer, and then that was the first day. And then the second day I did 2 coats of paint, and then the third day I did a 3rd coat of paint, and I absolutely love it. It is so beautiful and it makes me happy, and it's just this really gorgeous bright color that I don't know, I can't help but be happy when I see it. So definitely a huge contrast and change from the forest green, and I don't regret it a bit. The only thing I'm a little worried about is I forgot to buy sandpaper, and you're supposed to sand before you even put the primer on, and I didn't. So I may have to redo that project again in the future, but if I do, I don't think it'll be too bad. I'll just sand the parts that aren't sticking, because quite honestly, they professionally painted the door before I moved in, and it was already coming off. There were white sections showing through, and it looks like they only put 1 coat of paint on originally, so I think this is going to stick. We'll see. Also, if anyone knows, because I don't, I looked it up online, and it seems like it's supposed to take like 2 weeks for the paint to actually cure, meaning that it's really set, and it does seem a little, not tacky still, but definitely like you could damage it easily. So if anyone knows if that will go away, I'd love to know, because I hope so. Obviously time will tell. So if no one knows, well, I'll figure it out. Anyway, I think that's it. Thank you guys so much for sticking this out with me and joining me for a podcast. I hope you guys are getting some knitting time in. Talk to you soon. Bye.